Okay, Baruch Hashem, we begin not only a new week of learning 5 minutes of tefillah a day, but we begin a new lashon of tefillah. And part of the excitement here is that this B'siyata D'Shmaya is the final lashon, the 13th lashon of tefillah, and it's a little bit of a lengthy one, and of course there'll be the Pirkei Siyum at the end, so we still have a ways to go. But says the Shimshon Pincus, and this of course is from the additional Medrash, that the tefillah is called the Itur. What does Itur mean? From the Pasuk in Bereshis, that Yitzchak was Vayatar Yitzchak. And Yitzchak repeatedly davened to Hashem. And as Rashi explains on the Pasuk, Harba v'hifsir b'tefillah. That what did Yitzchak Avinu do? He davened and he davened and he davened again. And teach Chazal, Gemara and Brachos. Really, we saw this way back in the beginning of the Masech, the beginning of the Sefer, that what should you do if you see that you daven and you didn't receive an answer? If a person davens, v'lo nene. So what do? Do we give up hope? Do we go get a bracha? Do we do something else? Says the Gemara, what should you do? Yachazor v'yisbalel. Daven again. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, Kaveh el Hashem, chazak v'yameis libecha. Hope to Hashem and be strong to Hashem. V'kaveh el Hashem, and then hope again. Now, just to remind ourselves of the beautiful gain that we learned in the beginning of the Sefer, that the gain learned from this Gemara, that if you didn't get an answer, what does it mean, daven again? Chazar sashatz. Said the gain that when we listen to Chazar sashatz, our ears are at some level davening again. And at the beginning of the Sefer, Shimshon Pincus taught us the incredible lesson that it could be that your tefillah is waiting for you, and what you need is waiting for you. You just have to daven again. But how do you daven again? So at the beginning of the Sefer, he taught it meant with Chazar Sashatz, you stand, you listen, and you say Amen. But today in this parak on Iter, Shimshon Pincus explains that what does it mean to daven again? It means you daven again. And now we have a very basic, elementary question that plagues every single person. Just some of us actually think about it to the next step and bring forth the question, while others, we have this thought and we just push it away. And the question is, sometimes we have this in dealing with our children, dealing with a friend. You ask someone for something, and he says no. So what do? You ask him again. He says no. You send him a message, you send him an email, you call him, you're harassing him. He says, leave me alone. And you keep on asking, and you ask, and you ask, and maybe eventually gives it to you. Is that the right way to get something from a person? Sometimes our children, we say no, they ask again, they ask again, they ask again. And the question is, what are you doing? I told you no. So if Hashem says no, if we daven for something, and it doesn't happen, what does it mean to daven again? Why would we daven again? It would seem almost counterintuitive. Hashem said no, move on. It means it's not for you. Explains the Shimshon Pincus very deeply that we find in Moshe Rabbeinu, he davened 515 tefillos, Kiminyan ve'eschanan. So certainly, Moshe Rabbeinu was the right thing to do. Yitzchak Avinu, we just saw Vayetar Yitzchak. He davened and he davened. So what does this mean? Explains the Shimshon Pincus, and we'll read a few of his words, that the Sibas ahevdel bein midas HaKadosh Baruch Hu lemidas basar v'dam. There's a critical difference between man and God with regard to this point. And he explains, Adam hamavakish meir davar, you ask from your friend something. Why are you asking something from your friend? For yourself. You want something. And therefore, if your friend says no, what are you asking for again? For yourself. And you badger and you push, and you're hoping eventually he'll give in. He says, it's not the way it works. Because when I ask something from God, Hashem wants to give us everything. God, the Almighty, the All-Giving, wants to give. Sometimes we are lacking. We are undeserving. So we cannot receive. So what happens when we ask again? It's not that we're pushing Hashem to do something He doesn't want to do. The exact opposite. He wants to give it to us. And we're pushing Him to allow Him to give it to us. Explains the Shimshon Pincus, and at this point we end off. What does it mean we're pushing Him to allow Him to give it to us? because every tefillah that we say, and this is such a beautiful continuation of everything we learned, when we stand up to daven, when we connect to Hashem, when we remove our physicalities, when we allow our neshama to connect, with each and every tefillah, it's one step closer, it's one step higher. And slowly we become the people who are able to receive that which Hashem wants to give it to us. We'll explain this point to drop deeper tomorrow as we go further. B'siyata Dishmaya.